Meanwhile, as world temperatures climb, including water temperatures, there's one patch in the Pacific that is bucking the trend. The area along the equator in the eastern Pacific Ocean is known as the cold tongue and has been cooling for the past 3 decades. Scientists are racing to find out why, because changes in that part of the ocean could affect weather patterns around the world, from extreme droughts to worsening wildfires. Joining us now, Professor of Climate at the Columbia Climate School, Dr. Radley Horton, who focuses on climate extremes and impacts. Thank you very much for being on.
Dr. Horton, we know you will be able to unravel this mystery for us in the next 5 to 7 minutes. I mean, really, it is.
What's going on?
It is the great mystery, isn't it, in climate science? Everything else is heating up, but this one part of the Pacific Ocean cooling down over the past 3 decades. What are the theories? Why is this happening?
Yes. So as you said, starting out with the big picture, globally, we've seen over 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit of warming of those upper oceans. But there have been a couple locations, as you mentioned, the eastern tropical Pacific, a couple other spots have had weak cooling trends over the last 3 to 4 decades. Now, scientists have long understood why that part of the tropical ocean is cooler than other parts of the tropical Pacific Ocean. It has to do with a few things, including the way the winds and currents flow along the surface of the tropical ocean. They basically move in certain ways that lead water to move away from the surface. It has to rise up from below in the eastern tropical Pacific. Waters that are lower are, of course, cooler. So that cools the tropical Pacific surface. It also encourages clouds in those tropical regions where there is so much hot sun that those clouds are pretty effective at blocking that heating. So we understand historically why that part of the ocean is cooler than other parts of the tropical ocean. But the interesting thing is that our climate models have tended to suggest that that part of the ocean, like all parts of the ocean, should be warming. It isn't, and that's getting a lot of attention.
Professor, I guess we're all grabbing in a very hot summer with a lot of bad climate news. We're all looking for some signs of optimism. Is there any chance that this area of the Pacific could give us any hope that things are not as bad as they seem? And after this summer, what do you see that looks optimistic on the climate front?
Yeah, so starting with the last part of that question, I think really it's in the solution space. That's where most of the hope looks, because the climate news, the climate impacts news from these extreme weather events is extremely negative, as you note. But when we look at how quickly we're starting to ramp up some of these clean energy solutions, price of renewables coming down, young people starting to insist in their investments that they put their money in companies that are committed to reducing emissions and to protecting their workers and their supply chains from these growing climate risks. There you can see some optimism. Specifically in the context of the eastern tropical Pacific, listen, there are some uncertainties there. We could get lucky and have that part of the eastern tropical Pacific still keep warming towards the lower bound of what's going to happen. There's bound to be more warming. Just with the warming to date, we've seen more heat waves, more extreme flooding, and all these impacts. We're going to see more warming, but if the eastern tropical Pacific continues to stay cool, it might not be quite as bad and partially, not completely, counteract all these parts of the ocean that are looking worse than what we thought and what our models suggested.
So fascinating.
So, Doctor, we have, in talking to leaders in Gulf states, Middle Eastern states, Gulf states, their gauge is they may have 20 more years of fossil fuel. That's it. We're obviously, you look at our CAFE standards for our cars, they've shot up almost exponentially. The United States has done a good job since 2006, 2007 going down. We need to do a better job. I'm just curious, though, as we move forward with these alternative energy sources, as we lessen our carbon footprint, and I know this is really just a guess, a hypothesis, but what is the possibility of the Earth, of the atmosphere beginning to heal itself if we give it that chance?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it gets to this issue that there is momentum. Some of the greenhouse gases we've already put in the atmosphere, they're going to last for 100 years or more. The unfortunate truth is we haven't yet seen all the sea level rise and some of the warming that's baked in from our emissions to date. But there are sources of optimism going forward as we remove some of the types of small pollutants that we've put up into the atmosphere. As we reduce our methane emissions as well, you can see quick responses of the climate in that sense. So we're bound to see, increase in coastal flooding, in rainfall flooding, and heat waves. But if we can quickly transition, if we can quickly make that pivot, somehow reduce our fossil fuel emissions, by 50% or so in the next decade globally, a huge challenge, then we can avert the worst impacts and buy ourselves enough time for those really transformative innovations and protect our most vulnerable communities too around the world.
And Dr. Day, we were talking about China earlier in terms of the need to keep an open dialogue with them for the economy. But can you explain what a huge carbon footprint China has and how we can't reach any of these goals without figuring out how to get China and India on board?
Yeah, it's really all of the above. We're emitting so much more globally than we can afford to. Almost all the countries of the world have to reduce emissions, but especially the U.S. and Europe, outsized impact, partly because those historical emissions are largely still in the atmosphere. But we have to also, as you note, focus on China and India. China, the biggest emitter globally right now, per capita still less than the U.S., but bottom line, those emissions need to come down dramatically, really across the world, but especially, as you say, U.S. and China. If we can see more collaboration there, maybe that can be one of these societal tipping points where other companies, other countries sort of see that this is where investment is moving in a way that can sort of feed back and give us a positive climate tipping point, unlike all these negative ones we're seeing around warming oceans, loss of sea ice, which can lead to more warming, for example. So we need some of these positive narratives.
Professor of Climate at the Columbia Climate School, Dr. Radley Horton, thank you very much for your insight this morning. And